Welcome to MATHurdays. My name is Teresa Wills. I'm an assistant professor out of George Mason University in the Mathematics Education Leadership Department. I've had a lot of experience teaching online for the past decade. Prior to that, I was a math coach, math teacher. I've taught math in every grade from kindergarten through high school geometry, and really enjoy teaching online. One of the main reasons I like it is because it provides an opportunity for students to collaborate, interact, and get more student voice. And I'm here today to show you kind of how to do that through a math routine and a rich task with a discussion at the end. So that's our agenda for today, and we are going to jump right on in. If you would come on down to slide, oh, you're going to need the slides, so let me make sure everyone has those. The slides are in the chat box. Make sure you click that and that you're in there. That's how you will interact. And on slide one, there's several ways to stay in touch through email. I've got my website, Twitter, and YouTube channel. If you're interested in exploring many of these synchronous online strategies with us through a Math Specialist program, we train coaches at George Mason, and information is there. And also on slide 3, these are 2 bookmarks that you're probably going to want to go ahead and make sure you have. The first one is the bookmark to the templates. All of my templates are available to teachers, and they're ready to be downloaded right in to your Google Slides. You can just copy and paste them right in. You can also copy and paste in the editable versions where you can go in and kind of like change stuff up, move things around, and really make it your own. So those are available there. And the second link are all the other MATHurdays that we have done since March. We've done one a week, and they're all there, along with the blank, fresh, clean slide deck if you want to implement this with your staff. Also the PD recordings if you want to see how it unfolded in the session. And I'd love to start out on either slide 4, 5, or 6. Go ahead and find a space there. Add a text box and let us know what are you celebrating and what successes are happening in your lives. To do that, you'll need a text box, and it looks like a little T with a box around it. And you can find that text box on your toolbar all the way at the very top, probably underneath the File, Edit, View, Insert area. And I'll ask a couple of you to turn on your mic and share with us some of these celebrations. Dana, can we start off with you? How's your 3- and 4-year-old, and what have you been doing together?
Well, we have been spending a lot of time together, as you might all imagine. But bike riding has been a big one. So we've been transitioning. The 4-year-old is on a pedal bike now, and the 3-year-old trying to convince us that he also needs a pedal bike, but he's not quite ready yet.
Aw, it's so cute. Those times when they are first starting to learn bike riding is just the best. I love those. Awesome. Oh gosh, someone said gave my partner a haircut. How did that go? I'd love to hear. If you have pictures later, we're always into that too.
I did not have any clippers, so I was giving my male partner a haircut with just a pair of really sharp medical scissors that I inherited from my aunt, and I think it doesn't look too bad. I think I did an okay job, all things considered.
Way to go. I know my hair has grown out way too long over this time, and I am just not ready to take that leap. So good for you. Oh, let's see. All right, we've got a little doggy and a little kitty cat on slide 6. Whose are those? Tell us a little bit about why you put those there.
Hi, that's Jackie. Those are mine. I'm just, my success, other than playing with animals, is removing backgrounds from as many things as I can. So those are my, those are coworkers, so I'm enjoying them during this time.
That's wonderful. If you don't mind, underneath the animals, if you are using a software or a website to remove backgrounds, I'm sure other people are really interested in that. I like using them as game board pieces. So I have two cats and a dog, and they are appearing on some of my slides as game board pieces. And then when kids can have their own, that makes it so much more fun for them that they can move their own like little kitty cat. And it also helps us to build some community that way. So thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Somebody wrote something that is just warming my heart right now. So excited about school starting again. Who is that, and what are you most excited about?
Hi, my name's Patricia. I just love my job so much, and I'm thankful that I get to go and work with the students every day. And it's been a lonely summer without them, and just here with my pets, and that's my cat on the other slide. Her name's Cat Cat. We rescued her from
Aw.
Missouri. Yeah, and just excited to get back. I've made contact with some of my students this week, and they're just as excited to come back, to virtual school as I am. So that's where I'm at.
Oh, I'm loving hearing the excitement. Personally, that's my favorite part of August is hearing all the teacher excitement, and a little bit of it is starting to come in, so I'm excited for that. Wow, Bentley is 200 pounds. I'm just curious, what is it like to feed a 200-pound dog every day?
It's about 6 to 7 cups of dry food every day. So I don't know what a normal sized dog typically eats because this is mastiff number 6 for us. So 6 or 7 cups of dry a day.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, folks, this is called Successes and Celebrations. I like it because it gives every single student a voice. Even if I am not yet at the point where I am typing, I might be able to upload a picture. Even if I am not somebody who wants to speak out loud, I can still type it there. We can also give our students cues. They can give us cues. So if I wanted someone to talk out loud, I might choose to highlight their text box to give them a cue that they're coming up. And I sometimes tell my students, if you don't want to be called on, use the outline button and make it green. And that way it lets me know that you are happy to share on the slide, but you don't really want to discuss it any further out loud. So it kind of gives them some autonomy on that side. All right, let's jump into our routine. We've got a busy schedule and tons of fun math stuff today. We're going to do a notice and wonder routine. And for this routine, you won't actually need to be in the Google Slides for it. You're welcome to just come over to our teleconferencing tool because we're going to use the chat box a lot here. And I'm going to go ahead and display our image. And this routine is called Notice and Wonder, and this is how you could do it in an online setting. I'm going to ask you to take a look at this photo and type in the chat box the word notice first, and then your response, or wonder, and your response. And that's how we'll code what you're noticing and wondering here. Go ahead and use the chat box. Very cool. I'm going to start asking a couple of folks to share with us what they put there. Laura, you said that you noticed. Can you share with us what you had written?
Hi, good morning. I was trying to quickly count. I noticed 14 people and one dog, and I was trying to see if there were any other friendly pet faces in the picture.
Awesome. Whoops, I put that in the wrong spot. And so you were able to see all of the people there, and you even mentioned like the one little doggy too. Um, Patty, you said you wondered if they're celebrating something. What do you think they might be celebrating?
I'm thinking possibly, I really don't know, could be a birthday, trying to see if one of the family members are holding something. I can't really tell what that is, but not sure. Could be a family birthday.
Yeah, I like how when you said you weren't sure, you also had some assumptions. You said family, and so it's really neat that you were able to bring that out also. Becky, can you tell us a little bit about why you think that you see people of all ages? What are your cues?
Well, there's kids and there's people with white hair and there's
And anyone else, what do you think the minimum age is or the maximum age? Feel free to put that in there. I'm kind of curious on the age side of it. One of our early responders, Naomi, can you tell us what makes you think of multiple generations?
Because I see kids, and then I see, it looks like teenagers, and then it looks like maybe like parents' age of the kids, and then I see older people with, gray hair, which says to me maybe that they are the parents of the kids.
Wonderful. Um, let's see, Matoko, can you let me know if I'm saying your name correctly and tell us why do you wonder the reason for their gathering? What do you think it might be?
Oh, I just wonder why they are getting together. They mean like special event that family usually have, or any like specific celebration. I just wonder.
Oh, very nice. Um, Janine, tell us more about if they're relatives or friends. Have you had group photos together like this with relatives and also friends?
Yes, I have. I've I've had both. So they could just be some neighborhood friends that came over. Maybe they're celebrating the first time they've seen each other after quarantine. Um, so it could be friends or it could be relatives.
Wonderful. So there's a lot of unknowns here. We can make some
Yeah.
assumptions, but some unknowns. Liz, you had a really fun question there since we talked about pets in the beginning. Tell us about what you had written about the pet.
I was wondering if that was the only pet, and he looks very comfortable on the gentleman's lap, so he's almost in a reclined, relaxed position, so it looks like it's his pet.
Ah, yes, that pet looks very happy. And Naomi, what about, it looks like you were looking at males and females. Can you tell us a little bit about your thinking there?
I didn't count specifically, but I was thinking that there was, now when I go back, I might revise my thinking. It looks like maybe there's more females than there are males. I forgot what I wrote, but definitely I'm thinking now, since there's a 14 in the picture, but I think there are more females than males because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2. Oh wait, yeah. So it looks like, no, I take it back. I think there's like an even number of females and males because I'm seeing the grandfather sitting next to the little girl, and that first row is males. And then, so I think it's almost an even number. I didn't really count, but just looking at it, just as an estimate, it looked like there was an even number of females and males.
Neat. So here we're talking about even numbers. We're starting to group and categorize. And Dana, you found another way of grouping and categorizing. Can you share with us what you were thinking in your notice?
Yeah, for some reason the colors really jumped out at me, and the blue jumped out at first, and I really like blue, and then I noticed that the two pinks seemed to really catch my attention. So I don't know if everybody else is maybe in more neutral colors or what, but the pink seemed to really pop.
And you know, hypothetically speaking here, we had just had our fractions unit. So if you were to write a fraction that showed the number of people wearing pink versus the entire photo, what would your fraction be and what would you define as your whole? Go ahead and put that in the chat box and that'll end our little routine here. Make sure you define your whole. Ooh, Raha has 11 out of 14 neutrals. Nice. Let's see how many other things we can get here. It looks like for many people, we're defining the whole as the whole group, but are we talking the whole group of living beings or are we talking the whole group of humans? Looks like Karen is being a little more specific with people. So is Colette. Awesome. All right, folks, so this is how I might choose to do a notice and wonder. In some cases, we can even grab these little speech bubbles and bring them right to the person that we're talking about. We can even duplicate a shape and put multiple of these little speech bubbles going up to 2 different people. So I just wanted to showcase how you might, whoopsie daisies, how you might choose to do a notice and wonder in the online setting because, you know, we're not there face to face. So hopefully you got some neat strategies from that. And I'm really excited to see how you take this and modify it and change it in your class. So please, please do it. Like, use this and let us know a better way of doing it and alternate ways. Alrighty, let's jump right into our rich task. I have moved down to slide 10. And I always like to show the 8 math teaching practices from NCTM's Principles to Action as a foundation of why we do rich tasks. Today we're focusing on a goal. You're going to be doing some great problem solving, coming up with lots of representations. We will have lots of discourse through our small groups and our whole groups. You'll hear a lot of purposeful questioning, conceptual understanding, some fun, productive struggle, and everything will include evidence of student thinking. Let's begin. On slide 11 is a problem-solving oath I offer up to all of you. If you pledge to follow this oath today, you can make that pledge by typing your name in the chat box. It says, I, Teresa, promise to try my best. I will make sense of patterns and numbers. I will use manipulatives and drawings. I will make mistakes. I will ask questions. I will listen to other ideas. I will stay engaged by always trying to find another solution or representation. I am a problem solver. I make the world a better place. And I'm so excited we have so many other problem solvers with us today. Our task today comes out of the new Smith, Steele, and Sharon book, The 5 Practices in Practice. It is a high school problem, but I think a lot of even our elementary teachers can see ways that we could modify the problem to make it very accessible in terms of growing patterns for children to look at. So our task says, Ramona was examining the family tree her mother had created using Ancestry.com, a website you can use to explore your genealogy. When examining a family tree, the branches are many. Ramona is generation now. 1 generation ago, her 2 parents were born. 2 generations ago, her 4 grandparents were born. 3 generations ago, her great-grandparents were born. 4 generations ago, her great-great-grandparents were born. Every time she went back another generation, another great was added. Your task today is to look at how to represent and showcase how many of Ramona's great-grandparents were born 3 generations ago, how many great-grandparents were born 10 generations ago, and there's also 2 follow-up questions there if you want to get into generalizations about it. Slide 13 shows several really cool and fun manipulatives you might choose to use. You're also welcome to use just the space and shapes and lines. You can use paper and pencil, take an image and upload it, whatever your heart desires. I'm going to be the one to create the breakout rooms, so you're automatically going to go in. If somebody knows what room you're in, if you would help people who aren't as familiar with this teleconferencing platform, and our breakout rooms will start now. So turn on your mic and say hello to your new buddies for the next 20 minutes. Here we go.
Good morning. This is Remy from Washington State.
Good morning. This is Jackie White from Stafford, Virginia.
Good morning. My name is Lauda and I'm from Falls Church.
Hi there, just letting you all know you are group 2. So you'll be putting your representations on slide 16.
Thank you. Is anyone particularly interested in trying to pick one of those virtual manipulatives to run with? I haven't used the first two at all.
I think what we're doing is going to the different places and slide.
Hi there, group 4. You all are welcome to solve this in any way you like. I do love to give people virtual manipulatives to tinker with, but if you prefer paper pencil, just take a picture of it and upload that, or you can draw on the slide however you like.
Okay, thank you.
And you all are on slide 18, group 4.
Okay, slide 18.
Page, maybe we should go to a different page. Okay. So thank you.
Places I can go to get help. What slide is that?
That's slide 13.
13.
2020, everybody's
Okay,
on
thank you all.
You're fine.
Okay.
Hi there, group 6. Just wanted to let you know that when you're ready to post your representations, they can go on slide 20.
Thank you. Thank you. So it's kind of hard, but.
Okay.
Hi there, just letting you all know you're group 8, so your representations will go on slide 23.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
This is what okay, so.
Hi folks, just checking in, letting you know you're group 9, so you'll put representations on slide 24.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi Jackie, were you already in a room or did you just arrive and need to be placed in it?
No, I've been here. Yeah, I was the one who had the cat and dog thing at the beginning, but
right.
yeah, I couldn't. All of a sudden, I stopped being able to hear you, and then it just froze for a while. So I got out and got back in.
No problem. So glad you were able to join us again. I'm gonna just go ahead and place you in a group, okay?
Okay, that sounds perfect. Thank you.
Yep. If you're watching the recording, what I'm doing at the very beginning is watching a little bit appear on the slides. At the same time as kind of checking in with the groups. I'm looking for microphones on, seeing if we have any groups that are silent. If so, I might go and just check in on them. Some groups like to start independently, kind of quietly by themselves first, and others love to just chat it out right at the very beginning. So the first couple minutes, I'm into 4 minutes now, I am just kind of class managementing. I'm not really looking for a lot of things yet, but I'm going to start to look for these representations now.
Great. Follow, but I have to spend another couple hours learning how to use the apps.
Hi there, Group 1.
Hello, Dr. Wells.
It looks like we already have a big table here. What's going on with this?
Well, we were trying to note, I think a table was the way that a lot of us, like, our brains first went to organize information. So we were looking to see if we could find patterns between the generation and the number of grandparents. Or
Neat.
Is descendants the right word?
Wouldn't it be antecedents? Because descendants comes after. Yeah.
Laura, I think you'll like this part. The only reason I know that descendants come after is because of Disney.
I think there are a lot of elementary kids out there that know what that word means because of that reason.
Yep. So if we were to continue this, how would I figure out what the next phase is? Like number 11, how would I figure out the number that would go there?
The previous number times 2.
So I heard previous number times 2. Is there any other ways?
It's doubling.
It's to that power, so 2 to the 10th power. 2 to the first power is number 1, 2 squared is number 2. Number 10 is 2 to the 10th power.
Neat. See if there's any other ways of thinking about this. You can make my little list look way more better and add more to it. I love that there are already multiple grade level goals here, multiplying by 2, doubling, and to that power. So feel free to add to that as you're thinking through it.
Okay.
Hi there, Group 2.
Hello.
As you're working on this, if anyone is using one of the apps and you'd like to share your screen, I'm sure other people would be interested in seeing, but if you're all actively engaged in your own thing, that's fine as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Go format text and then
Yeah.
superscript.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So, see, so this equals a V, but then that's a 3, right? And then that equals control V, and that's a 2. So,
All right. So for 10 generations, it'd be 2 to the 10th power.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's question number 2.
Well, so could we insert over here? Insert. Oh wait, how do you do the table now? We need to insert over here.
Hi, Group 4.
Hello.
I see a table and a visual on here. Are those done by 2 different people? Are they different or are they the same?
I think we're different. We're two of us are working on it. But do you know how to add another column to this table, anybody? Because I want another column. I would tell generation 0, generation 1, generation
Was that good? I just right-clicked and...
Okay, that's good, except it goes on the other side. Right, that's perfect, actually. I'm going to move the top. So how did you do that?
I just right-clicked inside the table, and there's insert column right or left.
Okay. Oops. Okay, can you insert a column on the left? Because I can't.
Column on the left?
On the left.
Like
I
Who's
don't know.
doing the prep? Okay.
I don't know.
Because it looks like 5 at the 5th generation. I can't see what the scale is. Maybe, I guess it's a 10. 5th generation, there's 10. Let's see.
So should it be 32? Should the answer at 10 be 32? You just add in 4 each time, each year?
Wow, I guess I could keep going.
Mode, and so that the students can see the notes that you write in there as well. And obviously they can, it's easier to modify and see changes.
Hi there, Group 8.
Hello.
Hi, I love your table here. I can see so many wonderful numbers. Can someone explain to me your thinking? I'm going to go ahead and put a purple arrow in, and you let me know what your thinking was to get to the 64.
I think that when we were doing that part, we were just thinking of doubling when we go down the right side of the column, the right column. And then when we went to figure out 10 is when we were trying to think of that like rule that was happening.
Oh, so you're doubling each of these little arrows going down?
Mm-hmm.
So how come...
And then we wanted to...
Go ahead.
Oh, and then we were trying to figure out, like, I think we sort of focused here of, like, how was that possible with, like, the odd numbers and trying to figure out, like, what could have been the rule or the generalization.
Ooh. So what did you learn about odd numbers? And my next question is over here by this arrow. I'm curious from your team, if we're doubling, doesn't 64 plus 64 equal 128? And how come that's not on the table?
I think she was having trouble adding tabs, but in the interest of time, we kind of figured it out on the side and then realized that we could just skip to the, display the 10th generation.
Right. Once we figured out the rule, we didn't need to do every generation in order. We could skip generations and show that it still worked.
Neat. So that rule allows you to skip and kind of be more efficient, right?
Right, exactly. So you don't have to go through each one.
Wonderful.
These are great. Where did these ideas come from again, that book you said?
This one comes out of the new 2020 publication from Smith, Steele, and Sharon, 5 Practices in Practice for high school. There's also an elementary and a middle school version of the textbook.
5 Practices in Practice?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll add a link to the resource at the end here too.
Okay, that'd be great. I definitely would like to get that.
Yeah, I always love these kind of problems, but I just don't ever feel like I can come up with them on my own. And they're just But I love the pictures. I love the discussion. I love the problem solving. It's good.
I still think what's interesting is, I mean, I teach elementary, so K through 5, and technically, like, we wouldn't, although we still explore, we wouldn't specifically, they wouldn't have exposure to exponents necessarily, but they could still make connections with this.
Because
using
what
the
standard
reasoning
do they
and
do
building
in
up.
that grade?
Yeah, the patterns and the relationships between numbers.
Yeah, factorization, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, so in those early grades, they're still responsible for recursive definitions, like what comes next and how do you know?
Next, right. That's so good.
But even just the strategy of problem solving and how could you solve this, and even if mathematically they don't the 10th generation or whatever, or just the idea of the problem solving too, like what are the different ways we could solve this?
Right, absolutely. I heard from another math professor, and she was talking about how only, like when she asked professional mathematicians how they solve problems, which I found super interesting, she said that only 5% said that they use any type of algorithm, and then the rest just use their own like inventive combination of things they knew, sort of patterns, and so I like keeping that sort of in the back of my head.
Yeah. I was always the kid who couldn't remember the formulas, so I was constantly rederiving things and kind of mixing formulas together, and that was a major thing that I was constantly being told, you've got to memorize your formulas, you've got to memorize your formulas, and now I'm like, finally, math teachers aren't making me memorize.
Right, absolutely.
All right, if you're watching this recording, I have already gotten the information that I want here. I want to talk about how we move from a visual model to a recursive definition. In other words, what comes next, to an actual formula. How do we figure it out for the 100th generation? And so I have been able to gather that already. The groups still have many different ways they can solve this and think about it. And so those groups are working on other representations right now, thanks to the problem solving oath. And I have selected several and I'm sequencing them. So slide 27, I want to showcase the very visual way that we can count with a one-to-one relationship and be able to figure out the next level. Slide 28, I have a more abstract visual relationship. And slide 29, what I like about this is the word great, and how they use the one great, the two greats, the three greats, and how that corresponds to, whoops, not this slide, to some of these other ones where they say three. So generation 3 versus 3 greats, which is, three plus the 2 original. So I think there's some neat relations there. And eventually I want to get them up to this idea of a formula. So I'm going to finish my slides here. I've got 2 more minutes before we pull them all back together. All right, so that's my Blackboard. Those are the ones I want to go over. Um, and there's a lot of representations here, maybe even more than I could do in a face-to-face classroom, but I'll have very targeted questions to get us from a one-to-one counting to a recursive definition to an actual function, and that's what you can expect to see in the discussion. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the main room. We're all back together now. And I've muted your microphones as a way of showing respect that I'm a guest in your home and you might not have wanted your background noise shared with the whole group, and also so we don't talk on top of each other. There were amazing representations and wonderful discussions about new understanding and prior knowledge that you had to begin with. And I've selected a couple of these for our whole group discussion, which will start on slide 27. I'll also display it if you'd prefer to just stay and collaborate. Tracy, wonderful question. Would you pop that down in the virtual parking lot so I can make sure that we get to it? So I am on slide 27, and I'm also projecting in the teleconferencing tool. And this group, the thing about this one is that we can use this to count individual people. So I'm going to add a little arrow, and I'm going to ask if there's somebody in a different group who would raise their hand and use this black arrow to count for us. How many people are in generation 3? Who would like to be our arrow mover and counter? How about someone from group 2? Feel free to turn on your microphone and use that little arrow, or I'll move it for you as you count. But let's count all the people that are in generation 3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Thank you. And so we can see in generation 3 there's 8, but how did we actually get to that 8? How did we know to draw 8 and not to draw 9 or 10? And Kate, Lily, Tracy, and Sally, you all did this. How did you know to put 8 here? Tell us your thinking.
I was thinking that for each of the parents, there would be 2 grandparents, sorry, 2 great-grandparents for each grandparent. So just like I doubled with Ramona had 2 parents and her parents had 2 parents, I noticed there was just doubling and doubling again and lots of doubling.
Oh, it's my microphone that wasn't on. Raha, go ahead.
Hi, Teresa. I went ahead and inserted slide 29. I didn't get to finish the diagram. So slide 29 has more details. I don't know if you want to keep that one instead.
Oh, yes. So we do have a little bit more detail here. What do you all notice is similar and different about the two?
I noticed that they get longer as they get to the top.
They get longer. And what part gets longer?
The line of boxes.
The line of boxes gets longer. And at one point, the line of boxes gets, is that shorter over here? Why does this get shorter? Who's got an idea about that? Lisa, let's hear from you.
They are running out of room on the diagram, or maybe they ran out of time.
So they're running out of room or time. And Lisa, are you able to kind of see this picture? If they had more time, would you be able to tell us like what it might look like?
I think what we see in the top left, we would see that repetition above each of the pink and the blue or purple boxes. That would just keep repeating it across the top.
So this kind of would just keep repeating. Would it repeat like one more time or two or three or four?
6, 8. We should have 4 of those boxes across 4 sets of that circled box.
4 sets of the circled box. I'm going to go ahead and use all of my space here to show all 4 sets. Neat. And another group on slide 29 also showed this idea of greats, great-greats, great-great-greats. And I want us to think about their representation. Their kind of first column. We aren't going to talk about this specifically yet, but I want you to have this in the back of your mind. Why did they choose to make the first column words? And does it have like a number relationship to it? We're going to explore that in the next couple. Let's see. I'm going to kind of change mine up a little bit just because of our conversation. Join me on slide 29. And so much of this is kind of done on the fly based on the conversation. Because Lisa did such a nice job of explaining why there are 4 of these bubbles on 28, I'd like to go into a question on slide 29, and that is how we knew about this doubling. And could somebody of the table with blue on it tell us what your conversation was about doubling here?
Our group had talked about how we noticed in the right-hand column the number of great-grandparents. As you went down the column for each generation, the number of great-grandparents doubled.
And we can see that with those little purple arrows. And then I asked you all, why I don't see this next number, because if we doubled 64, we would get 128. And I'm going to actually ask that question to other people. So if you weren't in that group, why don't we see 128 here? What's going on?
They skipped to generation 10.
They did skip, so they moved from generation 6 to 10, and they had to figure out a rule to get there. And so different groups were working on like, what is the rule? How do we figure out the rule? So I'd like to head over to what I'm going to start calling the yellow graph. If you were in this group, how did your group start to develop the rule? What were you thinking?
We saw that there was a relationship from the doubling. And then we also start to see how if you multiply by 2 each time, it showed you the number of grandparents there were. So then we saw that it was 2 as the base raised to whatever generation it was.
So you saw doubling by kind of a multiplying by 2, and I also heard another thing there. What does raised to mean?
That's the exponential notation.
All right, so we have this little exponent up here, and we heard the term raised to. Wonderful. So let's go back to the slide 30. On slide 30, I'm hoping we can find some of these same things that we had discussed earlier. We talked about the going down the column as doubling, we talked about multiplying by 2 as doubling, and we talked about the raised to. Where do we see those on this table?
Well, if you double 1, you get a 2. If you double 2, you get a 4. If you double 4, you get an 8. So there's the doubling.
Neat. So we see this doubling here. I'm going to pop
I like
you. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I like how you had mentioned before with the words. And like if you think about starting with parents as the 2 and then grandparents, you add, like the grand adds 2 more, and then you add the great and that adds 2 more. So adding the word each time is adding another 2. So kind of a cool representation with the words, with the numbers.
So Jeanette, I'm curious, what number might you use instead of the word great, great, great?
I mean, 2 to the 3rd, 8.
So we have our 2 to the 3rd. I'm just going to use a little caret here. Someone can feel free to superscript it for me if you'd like. This great, great, great. If everyone could take a moment, type in the chat box. Actually, let's do one better. We're going to do pair shares for this. I'm just going to put you in a pair, and our question is, what number should we put here? What number goes here? And that's what you're going to discuss in your pair share. They're automatically going to start, so feel free to turn on your microphone and discuss what number should go in that cell. Here we go.
Hello, Wendy.
Yes.
I'm Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Okay.
All right.
When it says what number goes here, I'm not real sure. Does she mean on the left hand in the orange or in the right hand?
All right. I was going to ask too. I don't know. What number goes here?
And I look at 2 to the 3rd, so the power tells us how many greats.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 to the 3rd is not actually the number of great, great, great grandparents. That's what 2 to the 6th power. So it eliminates Ramona, her parents, and her grandparents. So the 64 is really 2 to the 6th power if we need to find the number of great, great, great grandparents. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if we're,
go ahead. Yeah. So.
And the grandparents is 2 to the 2nd power.
The way I see it, yeah, grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
She is now. Her parents.
Now is parents is 1. and grandparents would be 2 if we're looking at exponents.
That'd be the 4th generation?
Do we
Because the
count
4th
Ramona?
generation was 2 to the 0, right?
But then great grandparents 3. 3 doubling to 3 doesn't.
It's 8.
Hi, folks. Where
See,
are you
it's
getting a
not-
3 from?
Good morning, Teresa. I'm from Falls Church, Virginia.
So where did you get the 3 from?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking me where I was from.
No worries.
We were just trying to, we were thinking like parents is 1 generation, so 1, grandparents is 2, great-grandparents would be 3, but then we were thinking the doubling and multiplying doesn't work all the way down.
Oh, isn't that tricky? Very cool. All right, I'm going to pull us back together.
Like,
it's right.
A growing pattern. And is that
Welcome back, everyone. We're all back in the main room. And I heard lots of neat things about what numbers go in this first column. I'm going to put in a couple that I've heard, and you may add to this list. If we can use the notation of putting something in parentheses for like a new idea of a number that you think should go there. We'll kind of talk about like, why would this go here? How does it relate to others? I heard some people saying they wanted parents to be 1. Others saying great, great, great. So there's 3. So what other numbers do you think might be in this first column?
Are we supposed to type it in the chat?
You can type it right on in that first column if you'd like. There'll be a little bit of us writing on top of each other, but I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Teresa, are we still in our groups and our partners? Are we in the
We
whole
are
group now?
all together.
Okay, thank you.
So I see some people saying grandparents should be 2, great-grandparents 3. There's also the great-great-greats being 5. And I'm very curious here. Whoever is writing the -1, kind of, why did you say -1? That's a really neat way of looking at this. Why -1?
I put -1 because I wanted my great to be to my first power. I wanted my great to be my first great. So in order to have great be the first, the parents have to be -1 and Ramona has to be -2.
Ooh, so now we've redefined kind of our starting point. And that's going to make our equation look a little bit different. So now I am kind of stretching up there into that secondary area where you could look at the way that the equation would change if parents was 1, if parents was 0, if parents was -1. And we can have discussions about where is our starting point, where is our why not, or our kind of initial stage, and the way that that makes the equation change when we use multiplication and when we use addition. And so that's kind of that like next little nugget that I wanted my students to be left with and a little uncomfortable with. And we're going to stop the lesson here because we've gotten to the main objective. I wanted to move from recursive definitions into more of a function where we're able to talk about this doubling as 2 to the n or 2 to the 10. But I also want to leave them itching to know, okay, but what if the equation changes? What is that going to look like? And we'll come back to that in another lesson where we change the equation. As we close up today, I wanted you to know my main goals were on slide 32. These were the goals that I anticipated at the beginning. I wanted to talk about how words and numbers describe grades, how you use numbers in your representations, and how you move from descriptions and visual representations to derive a formula. If you saw other areas which this problem addressed in multiple grade levels, you're welcome to put the grade level and topic on slide 34, 35, or 36. It's really neat to see the way that these topics transfer to our primary grades all the way up to our college grades. Again, all the templates are available on my website. I have some frequently asked questions on slide 28, and I'm going to address everything that you leave for me in the virtual parking lot. So if you do have anything, go ahead and leave those questions there. I've hoped that you had fun on MATHurdays, that you explored a new type of problem, one that you can bring to your students, and you also see ways of doing it online. And I look forward to seeing many of you in future MATHurdays. Please give me feedback. Let me know how it goes if you implement this with your students. And someone wanted to know the reference for this. So the 5 Practices in Practice is a 3-series book. There is the elementary version, which I'll put links here on where to go for them. There's the middle school version and the high school version. This came out of the high school. Let's see. Here's the middle school. And I'm getting the high school right now. There it is. So if you're looking for what those look like, I'm happy to cite those. I got it out of the high school book. All right, questions. What strategies did you use when teachers or students don't talk, even with prolonged think-wait time? One strategy you saw today was when I put you in teeny tiny groups for pair shares. I really wanted you to think about the numbers and how they changed, but I also wanted you to have somebody to chat with about. So I am very comfortable with silence, and I think that's something, a skill that teachers develop over time. There can be more student-to-student discourse with some norms, but one thing I also like to showcase is, what it sounds like when there is not a ton of conversation, and use this as an example to promote teachers to say, what could you do next? So if you're using these videos for what do you do next, you can always pause it there and say, what could the presenter have done differently to get more people to speak about this? Now, some things that I'll do is I'll say, anyone with the letter M in your name, we really want to hear from you, so make sure you turn on your microphones, and I invite you to share with us. So you can get a little more specific, but I still use the words invite and share. I realize that not everybody likes to respond that way. Some people will respond and have a lot of voice in the chat box, so I encourage that also. How did you get the problem on the LHS of the group share screens? What's the LHS?
Left-hand side.
Oh.
The left-hand side.
Oh, so if you just, you can just click the text box and drag it over. And I just dragged it so it wasn't really on your recording space, but you still had access to it. So feel free to practice even with that text box there. Let me know if you want more support with that. How do you have students share their work when it's done with paper and pencil and marker? So one of the things I do at the very beginning, and I'm talking with little kids too, is I teach them how to either show their work on their camera, and then I'll do a snagit or a snippet from my computer and put it up there. Or I teach them, if they happen to have multiple devices, so this is probably more for your older kiddos, I teach them that they can take a picture and upload it directly to the slides. So here I just took a picture of a math problem I had sitting in front of me. Mine go to images, but you can teach students to put them in their Google Drive. You can teach them to turn on their camera and take it. So I use Google Photos. I'll click that, and this is the picture I just took, and I'll drag it on over. And now we have my representation of paper pencil. And low-tech ones are often just as good as high-tech. So, you know, taking a picture of something is still a great way of sharing. Exponents and Google Slides, there's several math type options you could use. I prefer just to use going up to format and text. You can get your superscript and subscripts up here. And that's under format text. So the superscript goes high, subscript goes low. I also use strike through a lot so that students can see that I've taken something away, but I still preserved my mistake. The other little trick here, if you're ever doing fractions, like you can get the math type, but personally I love just using the underline for the numerator. So if I'm going to write 2/3, I'll just type 23. And you'll see what's happening. I'm going to like increase the font. I'll have them stack. And then I'm going to underline the 2. And it's like super low tech, but it's fast and I can move it around and I can make it work for me, and it doesn't have any math type. Of course, if you extend this out, you're going to see that it's just a 2 and an underline with a 3. But those are some little tricks that I do to make it easier on me, so I'm not having to download tons of different extra applets. Let's see, any other questions? Oh, there's some more in the virtual parking lot below. Is there a way to save the chat? I do not have an account with this conferencing platform. Yeah, the chat is in the recording. And you'll notice sometimes I'm moving between and we don't see it there, but I try to keep it on almost all the time. So it's part of the recording that I do, and it will be up on teresawills.com/MATHurdays. So it'll be there in a couple hours. Do you have a resource for the awesome discovery tasks or questions? I get a lot of these tasks from other places, but I've also learned to just strip down tasks. And Dan Myers does a really nice talk on how to strip out information on tasks. What is, let me get the link for you. It's called like Redo Curriculum. Here it is. Class Needs a Makeover. M-E-Y-E-R. I need to remember that. So through this video, I have learned really how to strip out the numbers, make sure that there's multiple correct answers or there's multiple ways of thinking it, and that there's multiple representations. So that is kind of the inspiration. In terms of where to go, you might check out Mars. Let's see. Here it is. No, it's not. I'm going to try and find this one. I usually have the link available, but I'm missing it right now. So I hope to get that one out on here. I also there's a couple books that I go to, anything with the 5 practices, will not only show you the task, but ways that teachers have anticipated, selected, sequenced, connected, and monitored during the task. I'd start with those and then see what other ideas. I'll try and bring more resources for these in the future. This is a really interesting question, and it's one that was kind of bugging me a little bit in the task is what if people don't live with two-parent families? And I'm also really trying to make sure that we see more visibility for gender fluid or gender neutral people. And so this one was tricky for me. So I started to think about it as more of a biological standpoint that maybe it's not her, but it is a living animal had two to make it. But I am thinking about that one for sure and how we can make sure that all kids are feeling included. I don't have answers yet. I'm still thinking about it. It's a really great question and a really great one to continue to make sure that we have student visibility for, the non-traditional families. What happens if you have one parent? What happens if you have same-gendered parents? What happens if you have non-gendered folks and it's still saying mom, dad instead of parent one, parent two? So yeah, let's continue to have this conversation and think about it.
Can you show the camera again, how you did that?
Yeah, let's see. I'm going to stop projecting mine. And do you have access to a webcam? Can you turn it on and show a sheet of paper?
Yeah, you mean just my regular camera?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. So, is that me there? Wait, did you do that?
I don't have anything up yet. The camera
Oh, here we
button
go.
is
Yeah,
next to
that. Oh,
the voice.
okay, like that. You talking about like that?
I'm still not seeing it. If your camera's on, it's right next to your microphone. There's a button you actually have to
Oh, I
press.
took it off. Okay, so I did put camera. It says, now do I do share video?
Yes. Hi, there you are.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. So if I do like
If
that.
you do that, and then I would say just hold it still for a second.
I'll do a screenshot. I understand that. That I get. Do the screenshot like that, you mean?
Oh, yeah. So, okay, yeah. So you could do a screenshot like that. So you
Okay, I get
understand
that.
that one. The other one
Then you
was
said
how to upload it.
Google. You said something in Google that there's a camera that you use?
Yeah, so you can go to Insert, Image,
Oh.
and there's the camera button there. And so students can just take a quick photo of their work.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So then it would be a camera. And then wait a minute. So, and then I see when I hold it, what do I have? I hold it up to the camera?
Yep. And there should be a way to just like click that button. I don't have a camera on this computer, so I'm kind of going blind.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that. What a good solution. Okay, so now when I take this picture, what happens? It comes onto my desktop? Or it just goes right on the screen?
I think it goes right on the screen. You want to problem solve this real quick?
Yes.
Look at that.
Oh, Teresa, I just did it. Let me tell you, you have no idea how much you have saved. You have taught me in these last few weeks. Oh my God.
Can you please repeat how to hit the can?
Do that again because I
love that.
Absolutely. Here's what I'm going to do. The way that you would share a picture is go to Insert, Image, and then press Camera.
I love that.
You'll be able to take a picture of it, and if you all want to go ahead and paste them on slide 40, we can see what it looks like, and we'll be able to go ahead and upload them.
I'm sorry, where do you find the insert image?
Sure. So you're in the Google Docs. Let me share my screen.
Oh, when we are in Google Doc, not when we are sharing the video.
Oh, so we did look at a couple different ways. I'll go through as many as you'd like.
Thank you.
From Google Docs, we go to Insert, Image, Camera.
All right.
Will this work if you're in Safari?
Usually I work on a Chromebook, so I
Yeah.
don't know, but if you're on Safari
Yeah,
now, give it a
Chrome.
whirl.
Yeah, yeah. Google is more friendly to Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no voice. You can't do the voice activated speaker notes in Safari.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess it's Google likes Chrome, Google Chrome and Google Docs, so it makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
that
right. Who else had questions with the image? Do you want to see it other ways?
Yeah, please.
So I do have a question about the same thing. So that means that the students would have to have a Google slide open like we already have in order for them to do the insert and do the image camera, correct?
Yes. So if you are using the interactive slides for students to interact on, they typically will work on the slides. They won't really work with like looking at each other. As a matter of fact, most of the time when I do math PD, I'm on a computer right now without a camera on it. I just don't find it essential to the lesson. But if you are, like I did the routine at the beginning, so if you're doing that one, you might want to just have it on the teleconferencing tool because the students are not interacting with it.
Okay.
What other questions?
So again, so with this though, the student is taking a picture of their work and inserting it, right?
Yes.
And the other way is you would have them put it up to the camera, and then you would then do a screenshot.
Yes, so sometimes the screenshot for me is really useful. And Naomi, would you mind holding your paper up so I can get this on the recording real quick about how I would do it? So
I
Naomi's
got to
gonna,
come over to the conferencing one.
yep.
Okay, so I put it up
So
like that.
Naomi's got work up there. I'm gonna hit my snipping tool and it allows me to snip what she has. And all right, I'm all done with that, and then paste it directly on here. So now you can see what I saw in your video screen. The quality might not be as high when you're doing that, depending on the streaming software. But if you have lots of little kiddos who might just be showing their piece of paper on the screen, it can be really nice
Right.
for you to take a snagget of that and post it there.
And then you can make it bigger or smaller. Oh,
Exactly.
that was so helpful. When I grow up, I want to be you.
Oh. Yeah, so paper pencil is still one of my favorite ways of doing representations. I do drawings all the time, and sometimes I just don't have time for all these little digital ways of doing it. And there's still value in seeing paper pencil.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, just that you need to have multiple pathways with, this remote environment.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. I feel like teaching remotely is, in my experience, a lot like raising a baby, where everyone has an opinion about the best way to do sleep training or whatever you want to call it, and no one way will work for me. But when I know all of the different ways, I can make my own way that works for me. And that's
Right.
where everyone is right now. Just pick and choose the things that you like, and you'll make your own formula.
Right. Do you use the parking lot in your lessons with the kids? Do you
Yep.
leave that available to them? So they can-
Every single time with any group, because what inevitably happens, so I was a middle school teacher first and foremost, and I still remember when I had the most amazing lesson happening, I was being observed, there was big aha moments, and I was like, I'm nailing this. And a kid raises their hand and say, when's the project due? And then two other kids were like, we have a project due? And before I knew it, the whole class was out of control with project anxiety. And so I still remember that thinking, I wish I had a place where that student felt validated for the important question, but that it didn't interrupt the flow of the lesson. And so I've done virtual parking lots every single time.
Okay. Okay, great. Wow. Your sessions have been so helpful to me. I'm a math coach, and it's really been helpful trying to show teachers how to raise the level of engagement
Oh,
and interact.
wonderful. That makes my heart happy. Where are you coming out of, Naomi?
Oh, I work in New Jersey.
New Jersey, cool.
Yeah, and I work in a couple of schools, and it's really been helpful to show them how to raise the level of engagement and for it to not feel like a traditional webinar when I do PD with them.
Yeah, I can't sit through traditional webinars. I get too tired. I play Pokemon half the time.
Yeah, it's been really, really helpful. I mean, they like the traditional webinar because they can sit and not do anything, just sit and get. But my professional development has never, ever been like that in person. I send my people home tired. If they don't say they're tired, then I didn't do a good job. And now they're acting like that.
Oh, yay. That's exciting. That's what I want my kids to do. I want them to be like, oh, my math brain is growing today. I need a break. And, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you have been such a help. You have no idea. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. Hey,
All right,
folks,
so have a
after.
great
Oh, go ahead.
weekend.
Hi, yes, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. So I have a question. I'm using a second computer to try to mess with inserting. I went to the insert camera and take a picture with my second computer. And so this is kind of embarrassing, but now I can't figure out how to turn the camera off. I'm just in Google Slides. I'm not in the Blackboard Collaborate at all on that second camera, on the second computer. And I'm like, how do I turn this off now? I cannot. I mean, I know I could shut it down, but I'm like, okay, it shouldn't be that tricky.
It shouldn't be. You know what, Debbie? I am not sure yet. I'm going to tinker around with that one today. If anyone else knows, please put it either in the chat box or out loud. I do have a little camera cover that I slide over my camera when I'm not using it. I just do that as just general digital safety. But gosh, I'm not sure. I have to tinker.
Okay, yeah, I just started clicking on stuff, so now it did go off, but I don't know what I did that made it go off. So
that's like
my
my entire story of technology.
And then the other question, if I'm trying to figure out, so if a student was trying, I didn't try it on where I'm using my platform with Blackboard Collaborate, but I guess that's what most people did, is just turn the camera on in Blackboard Collaborate, take the picture, and then insert it from there, correct?
That's more of a teacher-directed move. So if you were to turn your camera on and collaborate, I was able to take the picture of Naomi's little sticky note that was placed up there. And so I think about that when I'm working with really young students or students who might be brand new to the technology. But a lot of students are probably capable of uploading their own picture as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Other questions? I see several people are still here.
I had a question when you were inserting from the document, the Google Doc. I kind of missed where that came from.
Inserting, sorry, say your question again.
You went to a drop-down menu and pulled from a Google Doc or something you said,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
kind of missed what was that.
Let's see, let me share my screen. This is my phone. I have a Google phone, so I upload things to the Google space, Google Photos automatically. Some people might have, Apple phones, and there's a thing called AirDrop that they do. But just another way of doing this is I would go to Insert, Image, and this is the Google Photos one. So there's a couple different ways. If you have several images on your drive that you use, you could do that one. But the photos brings up, here's the photos from my camera. I got a couple of my, crazy kiddos, and I can just bring them in right away, and it takes 2 seconds to do it. It's nice and quick. So I use that as a teacher. You might also be aware that your entire camera stream would be on the side, so you want to make sure that what you have is appropriate, but that can be useful.
Thank you. Now I understand.
Yeah.
I have an Apple phone and I put Google Slides on it, and I've dragged my picture from my camera to the Google slide.
Oh, very
I learned to
cool.
do that with you. So yeah.
I'm learning new things every day. So many people are sharing like, hey, you could do it this way too. And I was like, sweet, why haven't I been doing that my whole life? So absolutely.
So thank you very much.
Lisa, yeah, she was building houses with the magnet tiles. Right now I'm in the mode where I have to bring out a new toy that they haven't played with in a long time and hide others and just continue cycling through because we're inside a lot right now. Sally, I am in the process of switching over to Eventbrite. That way, I mean, I'm doing everything manually and it's not efficient at all. Like I'm sending out manual emails, I'm copying and pasting the email addresses, and I'm following along to make sure they don't get full too quickly. And so Eventbrite will let me assign a number of tickets into the event, and then I can have an overflow area that watches it on a live YouTube. So, you know, there's other options for people, especially as more demand is coming out. So I'm hoping this weekend I can get that kind of settled. I've got some revisions of my book to do too, so there's a lot, but I hope to get to that this weekend also.
What's the title? What's your book's going to be on virtual learning
It is.
with
It's
math?
going to be, we're debating between two titles now because it's just about to go to press, and it's either going to be teaching math remotely or teaching math online. So we're kind of going, or I think teaching math from a distance. So we're still debating on titles.
Got it. Nice.
Lisa, it's
Thank you.
expected to come out this calendar year, but everything that I've been told is the more that I keep working faster, the more that that deadline can move up. But I also want to ensure that it's high quality, so you know, spending plenty of time to go back. The publisher is Corwin.
I noticed that one of the books that everybody keeps buying, and I'm in Arlington and Fairfax, is the distance learning playbook, which you've probably seen.
Mm-hmm.
So just an idea to like use distance learning maybe with math might give you some marketing bumps.
Yeah, this is math specific, so I go through multiple
Right,
grade
math.
levels. I talk about kindergarten
Yeah.
math through calculus. I go into details about how to do number sense routines in kindergarten through 12th grade, rich tasks, how to give students more voice online, and just kind of a conglomeration of all these activities that we've been doing on MATHurdays.
Great, thank you. I just, even the little things, like this is probably my 10th session with you, but literally, you know what they say, practice makes perfect. So, and I feel like I get I feel more competent, I build my efficacy, and I learned little, like just the fraction thing. I was like, oh my gosh, I struggle so much with trying to write fractions online. And so just the little thing with use a text box and then underline it. I'm like, why didn't I think of that? That's great.
I'm so glad that you learned that. And is this yours, Jackie, on slide 40?
Yeah, it is. You can delete it if you want, but there wasn't enough room to put it on take a picture. So obviously this is not what I would do exactly. I was just throwing in images and then moving things around. But I love that idea so much that I just started playing with it.
That is so cool. If you do come up with a game board and
actual
you want to
thing,
share
yeah.
it, feel free to send it to
I
me.
will.
I'll cite
Yeah.
you in the presenter's notes, and other teachers will get some fun ideas.
I'll work on it. Yeah, I'll actually make something, but I just love it. Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to share.
Awesome.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
I'm gonna go.
Let's see. Somebody said, will PD be available in late August or September? Yeah, so Sally, what I'm going to do is make it so that each day the new PD will automatically go out. So I'll probably have, you know, registration for 2 weeks in advance. And on a Monday, 2 weeks from there, that other Monday one will come out so that people have more, you know, opportunities to sign up for them. And I'll also have overflow options. I'm trying out this live YouTube, so while it might not be interactive, you can still get a copy of the slides. You can work in with it, and you can see the live session that's happening. So that way it can be accessed by more people. Sure thing. Awesome. All right, folks. Well, happy Mather Days.